It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's weekly Torah lesson. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is again a double portion, Parsha Behar-Bechukotai. The question of the week is, does God want us to work or does God want us to pray? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha Behar, out of the two Torah portions, Behar and Bechukotai, right in the beginning, the Torah teaches us the laws about Shemitah. What are the laws of Shemitah? That every 7 years, after you work for 6 years, the land lies fallow for 7 years. Then the Torah continues, every 7 sets of 7 years, that means after you finish 49 years, comes a Jubilee year, and the Jubilee year also, the land lies fallow. So the Torah says, you're going to ask a question. I'm not going to work in the 7th year, in the Jubilee year. How am I going to eat? And the Torah is interesting. The Torah responds like this. I'm going to give my blessing that in the 6th year it's going to produce for 3 years. So the Rebbe asks the question, God could make many miracles that the people should eat. He could make it that people don't have to eat. Why do we have to eat? Because God made us that we have to eat. He could have made it we don't have to eat. He could have made it that if we eat a little bit, the food will last within us for so long. But nevertheless, you see clearly the Torah says, no. I want you to work for 6 years, 7th year I want you to rest. I want you to work for all the 49 years besides the 7th year, and then come the 50th year to rest. Then the Torah says, what's going to happen? How am I going to eat in the 7th year? And I didn't plow, I didn't work. So the Torah says, God says specifically, I'm going to command my blessing, and the work that you put in the 6th year will last for 3 years. In other words, what's God's message? God's message is, He wants us not to passively work. He wants us to work for 6 years. As a matter of fact, many opinions are that 6 years working is a commandment. We have an obligation to work for 6 years. God wants us to work. But God wants us to remember that even after all said and done, ultimately the reason why the land gives forth what it gives forth is because of the blessing of God. Or as the Baal Shem Tov says, it says the Shafsa Aretz, that we have to take the Shafsa, we have to take the Shabbos, the spirituality, and infuse that into the physical land. So to answer the question, does God want us to work or does He want us to pray? And the answer is He wants both. He wants us to work, and He wants us to work very, very hard. But He also wants us to pray because He wants us ultimately to realize that the reason why our work is going to produce is because of our prayers and of the blessing that God gives each and every one of us. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch ben Ari Leib and Shlomo ben Yosef. May their souls be elevated by the Torah that we're studying in their memory. For more information about Chabad, please see our website.